Today we're looking at the venerable Blackmagic Pocket 4K and the iPhone 15 Pro Max running the Blackmagic Camera app, and both shooting in a log profile. Will you be able to tell the difference? So the traditional camera on the left and the iPhone on the right, and you can see the screens look very similar. Blackmagic has done a good job taking its interface from its traditional cameras and implementing it on an iPhone. Now, of course, ultimately it's the iPhone that's producing the log image, but the app is the interface to do that. And now, of course, with the iPhone 15 Pro, you can shoot Apple Log, and that's now really the standout on the phone. So I've set up a scene shooting in my living room with the iPhone 15 Pro Max and then the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. This is a very basic scene and I'm using just a single light to light the scene along with the ambient light you see in the room. And I'm bouncing the light off the table as if it's a beam of light coming in through the window. And to do this, I'm using a really cool bright light from SmallRig. I just want to show you the kit real quick and I'll do a future video on this light demonstrating it in more detail. But this new generation of affordable COB lights really is great and gives filmmakers so much power now instead of having to invest in super expensive HMIs, etc. And these kits are great because they're a complete package that also come with a case. In this scene, I only have the light turned up to 15%. So these things are really powerful and I use these COB lights all the time now. If you're interested in the SmallRig light, I have a link in the description. All right, now here is a behind the scenes shot of the scene again with the Blackmagic camera. Now my plan here is I'm going to show you each clip without telling you what it is and let you try to guess. Now on the Blackmagic camera, I'm using the Sigma 18-35. And I did my best to match the focal length to the iPhone 24mm, the standard wide. And I also shot log and B-RAW on the Blackmagic camera and then Apple ProRes Log on the iPhone. First up is the color corrected and final graded look. This is a super exciting scene of me switching the channel on the TV. All right, same thing, just with another look. And one more time, the third look. Remember, I shot with the iPhone and then the Blackmagic twice, once in BMD Log and once in B-RAW. Now I'll show the same thing in the actual log or B-RAW profile. There is one giveaway, I think, that tells which camera is which, but I'll save that information until the end. I have to say though, all these log profiles look very similar. And kind of crazy to think that one of them is an iPhone. So what do you think? Did you figure it out? Let me know in the comments before you watch the rest. I've done these kind of tests before with the Blackmagic camera and other cameras actually too, but this is the closest one I've had and it's all because of Apple Log. And now, if you guessed that A was Apple Log, you were correct. So that's the color graded shot, and that was shot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, if you guessed B was B-RAW, you would have been correct. This is the raw image out of the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. And then C, obviously, is the log. They call it BMD film. It is basically a log profile, and that is ProRes 422. Now I'll show the log and the raw one more time now that you know what they are, and see if you can pick out the one thing that really does set them apart. So here's the Apple Log, and again, that is a really nice looking log image. And remember, Apple has turned off the sharpening or dynamic tone mapping, or at least turned it way down. Evidently there's still a little bit going on, but it's very minimized, and so it gives you a much more traditional log look. And then the BMD Log actually, to my eye, looks the best of the three, which is interesting because the exposure, ISO, etc. is set the exact same on the Blackmagic camera. Now here they are side by side, and you can see that the Apple Log, the color is a little bit different, but other than that, very similar look to the Blackmagic camera. And the different color is probably most from the lens coating than anything else. The sensor will produce different colors as well. And by the way, everything was shot at 5600 white balance. And so here's the one thing that really sets them apart. You can see with Apple Log, it didn't hold the highlights as well as the Blackmagic camera. You've lost some detail in there. It's not terrible, and if you didn't compare them side by side, I think it's fine. But even though you're shooting log, you don't have as much latitude to pull that back in post. You do have some, but not as much as you do with the Blackmagic camera. And here I'll show what I did. Here's the Apple Log. Then I did a correction LUT, and you can see the table gets pretty bright there. And so then I did a mask around just that spot, and I brought just that section of the table down. And then I put the overall grade over the whole thing. Again, by itself, it looks fine, but when you compare it to the others, you do see that it's missing detail. But overall, it still looks really good. So what we learned from this is that, yeah, the iPhone and Apple Log can look very similar to a traditional camera, but because of the small sensor, you just don't have the dynamic range when shooting and then the latitude in post to bring back the highlights in particular. Shadows, I think, are fine. Shadows will get noisy, but you'll have shadow detail. Highlight detail, though, is tricky, and it's always a good practice to expose for the highlights and then correct the shadows up in post. Because again, you can always bring shadows up. Very difficult to bring highlights down, especially if they're clipped. So again, let me know in the comments if you picked correctly and if you noticed the table, because to me, that's really the only giveaway. I'm planning to do more tests in the future with this camera and maybe even my Red Komodo, because I really do think more than ever now, the iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max can absolutely be used as a great B camera and of course a great A camera depending on what you're doing. And by the way, I used my LUTs on the Apple Log footage, and so if you're interested in those, I'll put a link in the description. Thanks for watching. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.